This video will provide an overview of Materials Commons published dataset features. There are two ways to get to the published data in Materials Commons. From the front page, you can click on the Browse Published Data button. Alternatively, if you are logged into the Materials Commons project site, you can go to the sidebar and click on Public Data. Either of these methods will take you to the same page. Let's go take a look. This is a set of all of the published data sets in Materials Commons. We give multiple ways to explore the published data sets. You can browse all of the published data. You can click on authors to get a list of all of the authors who have published or are a part of a published data set. Or you can click on tags to find all of the tags associated with various published public data sets. If we go to the Datasets page, we can filter the listing down by clicking in the search bar here. Here I have filtered the list down to all data sets that contain the researcher Berman in it. Let's take a look at one of her data sets. This is the dataset page for the distribution of transition metal elements published dataset. The overview page gives you details about the dataset, including the authors, tags, description, some information about the types of files and processing steps involved. If the dataset has a license associated with it, you will be provided with a link to the license, and if there is a DOI, the DOI will be shown along with a link to the DOI. From the overview page, you can also download the files associated with the dataset. You can either download a zip file containing all of the files, or if you want either a subset of the data or the zip file is large, you can click on Globus. This will take you to a Globus endpoint where you can download the datasets files. In addition to the Overview tab, the Dataset Details page also contains tabs for files, samples, workflows, any communities that the dataset is a part of, and any comments. Let's take a look at the Files tab. The Files tab gives a listing of all of the files in a dataset. From here you can preview individual files, such as this TIFF image. And like on the listing of all datasets, you can click here in the search bar to filter the list of files down. So for example, if I wanted to find all of the Excel files, I could type in XLSX, that is, the search will look at the name of the file, and it will show me all of the files that end with XLSX. I can then click on one of these, and actually I can explore a Excel file in the Materials Commons. So if I click on this, I can see the information associated with the various worksheets for this file. If I'm then interested in just this file, I can download it. Besides the Files tab, Materials Commons also provides a Samples tab. The Samples tab captures metadata about the various samples involved in the research for this dataset. We can see here all of the samples, the processing steps that each sample was involved in. We can then click on one of these samples, for example this one here, and we can see an overview of the processing steps for that sample, including any measurements or process attributes and their settings, and any files, including thumbnails of the files involved. We can then click on, if we wanted to see, for example, a better view of this image file, we could click on it to see the image file at full screen size. Finally, Materials Commons also provides a Workflows tab. This is like the Samples tab. It is an optional tab that a researcher can set up. A Workflows tab will show a graphical representation of the processing steps involved for a data set. So if we click on it, we can see here the processing steps that were used to collect the information in this data set. If we then go and look at the other ways of exploring the published data, the authors and tags, we can see all of the various authors who have either published or are a part of a data set that was published on Materials Commons. We can filter this down to a list of to a particular user and then explore the data sets associated with that user. Or alternatively, we can do the same with the tags. So again, we can filter. So here we've brought it down to 3D characterization. If we click on this, it will list the data sets associated with the 3D characterization tag. Then we can, of course, click on this to get a overview or go to the dataset details for that particular dataset. Lastly, if we are logged into Materials Commons and we have found a dataset of interest, besides downloading the files for the dataset, we can import the files for that dataset into our project. Materials Commons tracks the information associated with the dataset, including the license associated with that dataset. And this will be carried over into your project and associated with the files from that project. This is an overview of the features of Materials Commons published datasets. If you'd like to publish your own dataset, we also have a Getting Started video on publishing data using Materials Commons. Thank you.